Well, Canada, we are on the cusp of an election. We are finally going to have our opportunity to pass judgment on the nearly decade of Liberal policies, which haven't done very well by Canada. But what would have been a foregone conclusion in this election result is no longer. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Brian Lilley and Warren Kinsella. 4 months ago, Brian, maybe even 2 months ago, we could have all thought, all right, this is going to be a conservative majority. But what often happens? Events happen. And one event in particular, US President Donald Trump has completely changed what the ballot question will be, Brian.
Absolutely. Two things happened. Justin Trudeau left and Donald Trump changed the ballot question. So it's not Justin Trudeau's record anymore. It's all about Donald Trump. And so you look at a bunch of polls now. I think on average, the Liberals are leading now. There's still a couple that have the Conservatives ahead or tied, but momentum is with the Liberals. And who could have predicted that? Oh, wait. I did. When I said that, a couple months back, Adrian, I had liberals telling me, "Oh, you have more faith in my party than I do. Oh, you're crazy." But it's not the outcome that I wanted. It's the outcome that I said could happen. Now,
Mhm.
does that mean that the liberals are going to win it? Like they're going to get a majority? No, I go back to the main talking points that I use all the time. Voters are fickle, polls can change, campaigns matter. Mark Carney
TM.
did, yeah, Mark Carney did not have a good visit with the media in London. He sounded horrible, scolding Stephanie Levitz and Rosemary Barton, asking basic questions. And then the next day he had to come out and very sheepishly, "Oh, well, I might have some conflicts of interest. And if I do, then I'll recuse myself." So, if he has a few more outings like that, Poilievre has a really good campaign, Carney falls apart, all those things could still happen.
Mhm.
The voters, the electorate is very volatile right now. That's what I would say.
Warren is okay. So this is Mark Carney's real first foray into all of this. He's a banker. He's been basically a bureaucrat for over, a few decades. Sure, he's got a bit of a calmer hand, a better way of presenting policies than Trudeau. Similar policies, I would add, that seem to be a bit warmed over. But Brian brings up that exchange. Campaigns get heated. They're hot. And it's a very finite period of time to get your message across. There's little room for error, to be sure. So far, the Conservatives have kept their messenger as Pierre Poilievre, and he hasn't really faltered that much. I mean, depending on what your viewpoint is, but he's been pretty consistent. Mark Carney is untested in that regard. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I picture the conservative campaign as holding a gun and repeatedly shooting itself in the foot. So, for example, as Brian pointed out, Carney had that press conference in London. It was a disaster.
Hmm.
He didn't get in a fight with Brian Lilley or, somebody at Postmedia, because we're known to be somewhat critical of his party. He got in a fight with Rosemary Barton and Stephanie Levitz, CBC and the Globe and Mail. They're his friends, and he was personally insulting to those reporters in a way that the whole gallery came together to defend them. So what does the conservative campaign do 24 hours later? Oh, by the way, everybody in the media, we're not going to let you travel with us on the campaign plane. Like they actually had sympathy from the press gallery and they, pardon the French, pissed it away 24 hours later. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I do believe that Poilievre can still win this campaign. He is a disciplined politician. He's got more experience, as you pointed out, than Carney. His messages, his main messages, with the exception of Trump, align with the country. All the fundamentals are there. But it's like the cliche we always say about the Tories. They snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And it feels to me like they're doing it again.
All right, Brian, let's move to the other fly in the ointment, so to speak, and that is the NDP. If we look at the polls where they stand now, some project a potential Liberal majority again by 6, 7 seats, but the NDP has propped up the Liberals for the past number of years with their supply and confidence motion, and then Jagmeet Singh has said, no, we're going to pull the plug on that, and it's been this to and fro. The NDP has never been lower in the polls. What do you see their messages to Canadians?
Well, they're trying to wave the Captain Canada flag, but Doug Ford's already doing that, and Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney at the federal level are much more believable in those roles. I mean, that's what everyone is trying to do. Jagmeet Singh talking about, oh, we'll cancel the F-35, we'll build a fighter jet here in Canada. It's completely unworkable at the moment, but this is what he's putting forward. He's trying to get some traction because they are so low in the polls. Now, I think they're headed for disaster. Was speaking with one New Democrat who said, oh, well, it's not that bad for us. Remember, Jack Layton was down around 10% before the 2011 election. Well, Jagmeet Singh is no Jack Layton. And he's got an improved team. I don't know that he's got the team of Brad Levine and Kathleen Monk and folks like that were super disciplined in that 2011 campaign. So I think the NDP, you said they were propping up the Trudeau Liberals. Well, they're propping up the Carney Liberals now, just in a different way. They're giving them all their voters. Because that's where the Conservatives haven't been losing much in the way of support, a couple points, but most of their gains have come at the expense of the NDP. So, they're going to have to try and find a way to become relevant again. Meanwhile, you've got Mark Carney, who's going to run on one issue. I can deal with Donald Trump. Pierre Poilievre doesn't want to run just on that, so he's trying to pivot all of his messages about, shovel-ready zones and building the Ring of Fire and trying to turn all of those issues that were working for him before into this is how you beat Donald Trump. We'll see if that pivot works.
Warren, I believe it was you that had said the Liberals had done a non-hostile takeover of the NDP at one point, as we saw the propping up continue, and we're seeing some of that bear out certainly in the numbers. Again, a year ago, that NDP vote was hovering around the 18-20% where they normally stand, but now it's close to almost single digits at this point, all to the benefit of the Liberals. But I don't want to. I want to ask you specifically about what's happening in Quebec. If a provincial election were held today, it's likely that the Separatist Party would win that election. What does it spell for on the federal side for the BQ in the upcoming federal election?
Well, the NDP is getting clobbered, as you and Brian just pointed out, but so is the Bloc Québécois. And the Bloc Québécois is in big trouble in the province of Quebec. And that's amazing because that's a reversal of fortune of what they had been looking at before. What is the before time we're talking about? Well, we're talking about that period in the month of January where Justin Trudeau disappeared and Donald Trump reappeared. Those were the seismic events. Those were tectonic plates that shifted under our feet, and everything changed for the NDP, for the Bloc Québécois, for the Tories, and for the Liberals. The ballot question, as much as Mr. Poilievre would like it to be something else, is Donald Trump, period. I don't even think actually Mark Carney matters. The problem that Poilievre's got is the suspicion that he's kind of Trumpy in private. I don't think he is. I don't think it's a fair allegation at all. I don't think Donald Trump's a conservative. I think that Pierre Poilievre is, but not Donald Trump. But it doesn't matter what I think. If you look at the polling since these seismic events took place, the perception of Canadians across the country, particularly among women, is the guy to fight Donald Trump. I want somebody to fight Donald Trump, and that guy's Mark Carney. It's not Jagmeet Singh. It's not Yves-François Blanchet. It's not Pierre Poilievre. It's Mark Carney. Mark Carney's winning this because of Donald Trump.
Can I point out one quick thing in the polling, Adrienne? You look at where it's shifting, and I mentioned NDP voters moving over to the Liberals. They're also picking up support. Warren just mentioned it. women. Conservatives appear in most polls to still be leading with men. Women are starting to lean over to the liberals, but also it's voters 55 plus. Younger voters in several polls I've looked at still sticking with Poilievre and the conservatives because their main issues are housing, affordability, cost of living, the economy. Older voters, their number one issue, Donald Trump. So that's kind of an interesting split that don't think I would have seen in previous elections. I mean, Warren, you've got a deeper memory than me on that.
Well, Canada, you're finally going to have your say. And what will be the final result? I suspect this will be one of the most paid attention to federal elections Canada has had in a long time. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And go to the torontosun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.